Recording is in progress, everybody. Let's get it. Yes, you are welcome here to Financial Fun Friday. I am one of the co-hosts, Darlene Jenkins, and my other co-host, Dr. Rita B. Rowland. She is out today, but she will be joining us again for our next broadcast in June. But we do have a very special guest with us, Mr. Attorney, Mr. David Harty of Harty Law. So we are going to welcome Mr. Harty, give him a special clap up, welcome. And of course, your Financial Fun Friday is being brought to you by ABS Retirement Solutions, where we're always bringing you what's new and what's next in the financial services industry. So if you are just joining us for the very first time, let me say you're welcome. You're welcome here. Thank you for joining us. This is a webinar that we do on the first and third Friday of each and every month. And we're also broadcasting live and in color on Facebook. Hey, Facebook, welcome. Thank you all for joining us. And we do that simultaneously. And during this broadcast, what we do is we just pull back the curtain so that you can get an in-depth understanding of not only your federal benefits if you're in the federal government, but we also give you some great retirement options and solutions and just provide you with various financial nuggets and strategies to what? Help you reach your financial destination. Now, of course, if you would like to join us here on the broadcast, where when you talk and ask questions, you know what we do? We talk and answer your questions right back. If you want to join us here, you can follow the link. We're at bit.ly.com. bit.ly #Financial Fun Friday. Of course, go to Facebook right now, like us, share us out on Facebook right now. Don't keep us a secret. Don't keep Financial Fun Friday a secret. We're at Your AB Solutions on Facebook. Of course, you can also find us on YouTube. Any past shows, you can go right on over there. Talk to us over there. Leave us a comment, like, ring that bell so you can follow us every time we upload a new video. And we're on Instagram, you all. Your Financial Fun Friday team, we are now on Instagram. So please go on over there, share us on Instagram, invite your friends to share us on Instagram. We're at Your ABS Retirement Solutions on Instagram. So please go on over there. And we have somebody, my co-host, popping in with us. I don't know if she's going to come on camera or not, but Dr. Rita B. Rowland has entered the building. So thank you, Rita, for joining us. Good morning. The check-in, oh my gracious. Thank you. See, our people who join us all the time has already checked in from Puerto Rico. So if you're watching us, please tell us where you are watching us from, because we know this is our check-in time also. So check in and let us know where you're watching us from. We've already had someone to do that who is watching us from Puerto Rico. Hello in Puerto Rico. So please check in Facebook. Go ahead, drop it in the comment section where you are watching us from. We appreciate it. We got Wilmington. We also have Delaware. We got Florida in the Sunshine State. Yes. Of course, we have Maryland, Washington, D.C. We have Washington State. We have Texas. You all are showing up. Alabama. Hey, Alabama, way to show up. We appreciate you. But we're going to go ahead and, did I miss something? But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started, because today we are talking about estate planning, which is something that is very personal to me. Let me just make sure, because I want to make sure I'm going over everything. Yep. So we're talking about estate planning, and we're going to be going over some questions and just a checklist of things that you and your children should be discussing. And if you have parents that are still alive, if you're on here and you are the person that may be taking care of someone, these are questions for you. So this all relates to your financial planning that your Financial Fun Friday team is here to do. Oh, before I get too far in, let me just say this. The information that we are going to be covering is going to be general in context. Please apply the information where you feel it fits your particular situation, because without having information on your situation, we can't tailor this information to you. But what you can do is reach out to your Financial Fun Friday team at 301-577-6340. And any of the information that we share here on the broadcast, we would be more than happy to assist you and your family with achieving the information and putting the information in place that you want to have. So now back to the program. We're going, so financial planning, how do you want to protect your assets? How do you want to protect your parents' assets? You're working right now. If you have children, grandchildren, like I said, your parents may still be alive. You've worked a long time to get this. How do you want to pass on these assets after, of course, you've used what you have accumulated? But how do you want to get that to them? Then with the estate planning, do you have all of the necessary documents, such as a trust, a will? Do you have your durable power of attorneys? And then what are the expectations? What do you expect from your parents? What do your children expect from you? So we're going to go, into that. And the way I'm going to do it is just by telling the story, are you prepared, really? This is myself and I can't believe I'm getting, but this is me and my mom. And the reason this is so important to me, Mr. David Harty, our estate plan attorney that we have there, he assisted me and my mom. Okay. And there are certain questions that you have to make sure that you are prepared for. So as I first said, how are you going to pass on your assets? So my mom, I'm an only child. My mom got married and she married someone, my stepdad, my dad, who also had a child, but my mom had assets. He had assets. And oftentimes our parents don't like to talk to us about their assets because they feel, number one, we may be interfering. They don't like it. They may think we're trying to get something from them, or they may not want to burden us. But we have to get in there and ask them these questions. And so my mom became very ill. You have to make sure, and David, please, I want you to jump in here, because my mom, when she didn't want to listen, she didn't really listen and understand until I broke it down to her that you could potentially disinherit myself and her granddaughter, my daughter. Now, when I said she could disinherit her granddaughter, that's when she started listening. But guess what? My mom was very, very ill at that point. In fact, she was in the hospital when she said, okay, I want to do it. Now, luckily for us, prayerfully and thankfully for us, my mom was still in her right state of mind. She could think, she could make her decisions, she could write, she could do all of that for herself. And so we were able to finally execute her living trust. And why is that important? Because when you have a trust, all of your assets, they go in there, right, David? And now they're titled to the trust. And why is that important? David, can you expound on why that's important, and the importance of of the person not waiting, not procrastinating, where you're in a position that you cannot make those decisions? And what happens, David, if a person gets in that situation?
Yes, the purpose of a trust is to avoid probate. Now, I want to make it clear. If you have property or blended family or other situations, a special needs loved one, you should have a trust. If you have property in multiple jurisdictions, you should at least consider a trust. But I don't want anyone to get off this call and think, oh, I can only do, if I can't afford a trust, I do nothing. If you can do a will, do a will. But the purpose of the trust really is to avoid probate. Probate is the legal procedure where the state makes sure that all your creditors get paid and the lawyers make a lot of money. Lawyers love probate, who do probate, because we get paid. All of your assets that are titled, that are not qualified, should go into the trust. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with not qualified, many annuities are qualified. Those are assets that are paid for with pre-tax dollars. So you don't put those in the trust, your IRAs, things like that. Those go by designation. And maybe another time we'll talk about, well, what happens if my loved one is a minor? Let me make it clear right now before I go a little further. Never, ever, ever should you make a minor the beneficiary of your life insurance or a retirement. That causes legal fees and court involvement. I have someone the other day who didn't know that. They got a 4-year-old. I said, change it. Because even if they have a parent, the parent has to go to court to become the guardian of their own child. So burn that in your mind no matter what. If you went out there and made your grandchild or great-grandchild the beneficiary of your qualified account or retirement account or insurance, changes. But it's
And David,
critical, back to what you asked, it's critical that you have an estate plan. Otherwise, the state, no matter what state you're in, essentially has one for you. It's called intestacy. And your benefits or your assets will go to someone who you didn't intend to get it, who can't manage it. And when we say estate plan, I want to make it clear, because you had it up there, we are including medical power of attorney and durable financial power of attorney. So in case you become incapacitated, you have designated the one, because if you don't, it's going to be the most trifling relative you know. Rita says, I'm not supposed to talk about Pookie, but I'm going to talk about Pookie anyway. It's going to be Pookie and Nene that runs up and says, I know what I'm doing, and you'll come out the hospital or recover, and you won't have a dime. They'll tell you things like, well, I was depressed when you were in the hospital, mama, so I went on a cruise. Anything I tell you, it's not my imagination, it's occurred. I'm a new attorney. Rita just got me fresh out of law school in 1979. She was older than I was then. And so I'm sure glad she can't hit the screen and punch me. But what's critical, people, is you need to have an estate plan, and a properly done one. Now, back to Darlene. Yes, it's rare I don't do this often, but Darlene and her mom and my heart, we actually had to go to the hospital.
Yes.
In the hospital bed and have mama sign. But we got it done. And what that meant was when her mother ascended, because she's up there with the violins looking down at us, I'm going to be looking up. But anyway, she's looking down.
No, David.
Darlene was able, with minimal assistance, to settle her estate. It's that easy. It's that easy. A probate. People say, well, I got a will, and I don't care what you say. I'm not spending extra money for a trust. Okay. Let's say you have a $500,000 estate. And before you gasp, remember, if you have real estate in any urban area or appreciate, that's easy to do. I'm not saying everybody, but in Maryland, it's 3.6% with a slight change over that. And other states aren't regulated. The lawyers get paid. Lawyers that handle probate live large. I am tired of doing probate, so I'm really turning them down until I'm old, but I'm training someone else to take over. But in Darlene's case, Darlene mentioned that her mother had a husband. So we arranged in the trust that the house went to Darlene upon her mother's passing, but as long as he paid the bills, the spouse could live in the house. And now that he's with Angels, or wherever he is, Darlene, the house is going to be in Darlene's name. It could have been before, but it's going to be in Darlene's name. She'll own it. It's a way to avoid the common mistake that people make. Oh, I'm going to add my kids to the deed. Don't do that. Don't do that. A, that will take away any opportunity for a first-time home buyers program. B, because it's tax problems. C, if they jump up and have an accident or get married to someone, now your assets are being joined by another party.
Yep.
Critical, critical. What goes into a good estate plan? Have someone who focuses in the estate planning area. And I was just telling Darlene, just this morning, I got a call. In a nutshell, a friend of my brother, his fiance, his father died in Ohio, and she gets a call from an attorney out there telling her, well, you know, the widow is not on the deed, but she wants the house and the car. The only thing left in the asset are 2 bank accounts, and therefore, and my legal fees are $15,000, so they come out of your share. Hold on, wait a minute. I said, First off, that's not something that they don't ordinarily call you. And no, you're entitled to your share, which in Ohio is essentially almost 1/3 minus 20,000. So he called back today and asked if she had an attorney. She said no, but my brother-in-law is, or my future brother-in-law is an estate attorney. I bring this up because he was trying to run a flim flam. This attorney was acting on behalf of the widow and trying to get her to sign papers. So what's the lesson from that? Always seek proper counsel. Stop thinking you can do it yourself. Well, I can read. Reading is not the key. Lawyers aren't smart. We're just trained. If we were smart, we'd be electricians. We're just trained. And find a lawyer who knows the area. Do not go online and try and do it yourself.
David, you said a mouthful right there, because a lot of oftentimes, I don't want to say a lot of people, but oftentimes, we'll see the commercials for the do-it-yourself packages, online. You just go in, and let me tell you all this. My mom did that, and she had created a will. Now, I had been trying to get my mom, prior to her becoming ill, to do this trust, to do this living trust. Now, her primary gripe was, well, it's too expensive. I don't want to spend that type of money. Now, that type of money was a little over $3,000, okay? A little over $3,000. Keeping in mind, her estate was over $300,000, okay? We and my mom, before she got sick, went on 2 to 3 vacations a year. So she decided, because she didn't want to lay out that money, she was going to go on to a program online, had did the will, and was like, hey, this is, I did it. I didn't have to spend all of that money. I think she said she paid like $175, grafted her a will. And so I went to David and was like, oh, well, my mother said she has a will. And he said, let me look at it. He said, oh, well, she just gave everything to your stepdad, because in the state of Maryland, like, she had disinherited her husband. She had left, she still told me, I want him to be able to stay in the house, and because she knew I wouldn't do right by my dad. He said, you in the state of Maryland, you can't disinherit a spouse. I'm like, what? But that's what she did. So it was automatically contestable. David, remember when you told me that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So those online programs, and my mother had clicked for the state of Maryland. Like David said, attorneys are trained. Those programs are not. Nowhere in that program did it tell her you can't leave in the state, for the state of Maryland anyway, that you can't leave your husband anything. And when it comes to cost, because I know some of you out there may be thinking, oh, well, it's too expensive, $3,000. 2 or 3 years ago, Rita and I went on a fabulous vacation to Seychelles. We spent over $5,000. It is nothing for us to plan a vacation to go to. Oh, we all going to Africa. We're going to Ghana. We're going to go to Ghana. We want to go to Ghana. We want to go to Kenya. We want to go to Tanzania. And it's going to be more than $3,000 to get you there. You know how I know? Because the plane fare run around $1,800 just for the plane fare. But we balk at the idea of spending money to protect everything that we have built. Because guess what, David, can you just talk a little bit about what it would cost, like, to probate it? Because like David said, I did, because my mom had a trust and we had this wonderful estate plan attorney here, Mr. David Harty, I was able to walk through it, but they told me that now you have to get a bond. And David, can you speak to that?
Here's an example. 2 estates at the same time. One, a solid will. I don't know who prepared it. It didn't matter. There was nothing wrong with the will in Maryland. The other was a trust I prepared. The estate for the will was $800,000. The estate for the trust was $1.2 million. Because the trust, everything was in the trust, maybe 1 or 2 small things, it was approximately $2,000 to $2,500 to settle the trust. 1.2 million. The $800,000 estate was $29,000 in legal fees. That is why the vast majority of attorneys don't do trusts. Because although you make a little bit more up front creating it, you make a lot more in probate. Probate, and let me correct this, because I see some of you in different states. Probate in Maryland is a lot less than some other states. In New York, you can often count about 10% or more. You hear what I said? So if you have a $1.2 million estate, you could be looking at $120,000 in legal fees. That's why some estate attorneys are fat wallets. There is a severe shortage in this country of estate planning attorneys who are minorities. Extreme shortage. And I get called on to speak in national conferences. I'm going down. I was in Minnesota last year. I think I'm in Tennessee this year in September, to remind other attorneys that they have an obligation to provide the same level of service to minorities that they provide to others. Don't just, if we walk in, you see, we have a walk in there, a habit of walking in. I want to leave everything to everybody. I got 47 people I want to take care of. I've got 9. This house has been in the family all the time, and I want to keep it in the family and put all 10. Now, you know that 10, 2 are Pookies, and 1's just a hopeless. And that's the one who, when you die, is living up in that house, talking he's taking care of mama, but mama's 78 and paying the mortgage. So what's he doing? And when she dies, that one thinks that he owns the house, even though all he did was put a light bulb in once. I tell folks, create that estate plan, especially your trust, and there's going to be language in there saying that house is to be sold. Oh, no, we were taught that you have to keep the house forever. No. If you can keep the house in the family with a responsible person, yes. But not 3, 4, 5, 6, because my family don't fight. 99% of my litigation has been Jones versus Jones and Smith versus Smith. I have had sister threaten to kill her brother. He had to get a protective order because she told the judge, yeah, I threatened to kill him. He trying to sell the house. The will said sell it. She didn't have a dime or wanted to throw anything at her. But she thought the house should stay there. Who's going to pay for it? I don't know. Thank goodness mama had a written estate plan and the court ruled in our favor. But with the trust, I'm telling you, you can help protect your grandchildren. Suppose they're a minor. Suppose you have a loved one with a little alcohol problem, large drug problem, who happens to be a guest of the government for the last 20 years because they did something wrong with a pistol. You need to be totally open with the attorney who is creating your estate plan.
Absolutely.
If you don't tell us that he's in jail or has a drug problem, then we'll leave a lump sum. And from my days as administrative law judge, we would say if you leave a crack abuser or a drug abuser a large sum, it's a party and a funeral, okay?
David,
it's a party and a funeral.
Yes. Why are we going over all this? What is the point? We want to make sure we here at ABS Retirement Solutions, your Financial Fun Friday team, attorney David Harty, we want to make sure that your family is prepared. And so you have to ask yourself, what type of legacy do you want to leave? Do you want chaos? Excuse me, when you depart and cross the river to the other side? Or do you want organization, peace, harmony, everybody knowing what's going to happen, what's going to be passed on? And as I stated earlier, many on here, especially if you're in the DMV area, David mentioned, 2 estates being, estates, one going through probate and with a will, and the other going, 1.2 million having a trust, and the cost of, finalizing both estates. If you have $1 million estate, and here in the DMV, that's easy between your investment, retirement accounts, and your property. We're not even counting in your cars and your timeshares yet. plus all the other little brokerage accounts or other things that you may have. To put in place a living trust, if you have just $1 million estate, half real estate, half financial accounts, it's less than 1%, 0.35%, 0.035%. It is 0.035% worth spending to protect the other 99.65%. Because you will spend 0.035% going on that luxurious vacation. And what if you die on that luxurious vacation and don't make it back, or come back maimed, and you had good intentions, but now you can't? And so instead of leaving a legacy of order and peace and harmony, there's going to be a legacy of chaos and infighting. So we appreciate you joining us. Thank you, David, so much for sharing your wisdom. We're going to have you back on here so that you can get some more. Again, are you prepared? Are you prepared for the hiccups that will come, that could come in life? So planning is just bringing the future into the present so that we can do something about it right now. That's what Mr. Alan Lakin said. So contact your Financial Fun Friday team today so that we can map out a strategy for you. Scan the QR code, call our office 301-577-6340 so that we can help you put all the pieces together to help you reach your financial destination. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you sticking in here with us. We know we went over, but please, when you come next on June the 5th, I think it is, David, is it June the 5th? Give me one, the first Friday and Friday. When you come, did I say the first Friday and Friday?
Yeah.
The first Friday in June. Bring one with you. Share us out on Facebook. Go over to Instagram, like us. David, I think we have a question here. I want to, okay, no question. Yeah. So if you have questions for us, you can email us at fff@yourabsolutions. Of course, leave us a comment. We check all social handles. Follow us on Instagram, go on over there. David, thank you so much for being with us. And
it was a pleasure.
Great information to us. Thank you again for joining us for another episode of Financial Fun Friday. Everybody have a great weekend. Stay safe. Bye-bye.